Oh.
Well, Daryl Impey has got himself right to the front. His team here, Michael Hepburn still there in front of him. He's got Lucas Hamilton, but he's right up the front, exactly where he needs to be. The others need to come up, pass him, attack over the top, try and create that gap. Richie Port was off to the right-hand side. Michael Woods on the left in the pink with his teammates as well. James Whelan bringing him forward.
It's the corkscrew all again now as the riders move to Robert Hessink moving up number 152 here. Pozzovivo also beginning to make a move now. The camera needs to pull back. Who's on the front here? Because this is a battle of the climbers now as the last climb begins.
Well, it's one of Richie Port's teammates trying to make things hard, keep the pace up, try and burn Daryl Impey. And they're going to need to take the opportunity straight away to open up enough gap. And Team Sky now come to the front. Where is Walt Pouls? This is Van Baal setting the pace.
I have a feeling the last lap, Walt Pouls was not going well. It was hurting.
Walt Pouls is a long way back here on the left-hand side now.
I don't think he's going to make it, personally. We'll see. I'm waiting for a move to come, possibly from Leon Sanchez, certainly from Richie Port. The whole world of Australia is expecting Richie Port to go.
Well, here comes a move. That's Kenny Elizondo coming up the left-hand side, the young Frenchman. That tiny figure weighing in at 52 kilos. He doesn't feel these hills yet. He goes into second wheel behind Van Baal, so they must have got the instruction that Walt Pouls feels good enough, so wind it up.
The race leader a long way behind now, just entering Wollonga, while 2 kilometres ahead is the battle. And now Wout Pouls trying to get back in the action. Ellison in second place. Little move from Trek Segafredo, just to alter position. Port is having trouble here. He's having all sorts of bother trying to lock on to Michael Woods, is it?
Well, he did have a teammate that swung out of the line. Woods was forced to close the gap. Port goes with him. Further back, Chris Hamilton. Cameron Myers still there in the line. Impey further back in about 15th, 16th position. So Port now, he already has a 6 or 7 second gap on Daryl Impey just due to his position in the line. He now really needs to light things up. There is Impey zooming in, number 1. Walt Pouls has just gone past. Impey into time trial mode, and it's time for the others to attack.
If Port wins this race, he gets 10-second time bonus. Impey's got to do exactly what he did last year and finish within 8 seconds of him over the line. Otherwise, he will lose the race to Richie Port.
We saw Cameron Meyer, number 7, looking around, seeing where Daryl Impey is, what he can do for his teammate. But on the front, Dylan Van Baal setting such a high tempo, nobody thinking about attacking just yet. But Richie Port is approaching his favourite section of this Wollonga climb.
But is he leaving it too late, Robbie? Because we're really onto the steep section. With every pedal rev, it's swinging the way of Daryl Impey this race. The longer they late, but they're going so quick, I'm not sure anybody has got the ability to lift the pace to break clear.
Well, Impey's still riding in that line. He's back in about 16th, 17th wheel. Richie Port here, he's riding in 5th in the wheel of Michael Woods. Still the pace being set by Dylan Van Baal. Elizondo yet to go on the front. Luis Leon Sanchez in 3rd. Woods, Port, Hamilton from Sunweb in the red. The young Aussie swings out, back into the wheel of Port. They're coming through one of the steeper sections, and normally Port has already gone by now.
An acceleration by Ellison to keep the tempo going extremely well. Luis Leon Sanchez, remember, he's looked like a winner 3 times this week, and they've caught him on the line. Is he going to get... No, he's not. He's cracked. He's looked around. He's looked at Richie Port because Ellison is going away on his own.
And Port sat up. Port stopped pedalling, freewheeled, looked at someone else to do the work. They're coming on that steep right-hand corner, and it's really Daryl Impey is now at the front of the bunch. This race is falling into the lap of Daryl Impey.
Yes.
Nobody seems capable of going.
This is incredible. These boys were at 110% here. Ellison is gone. Wout Pouls is gone.
Well, Pouls now making his bid. He's at 26 seconds behind overall, but just 19 behind Daryl Impey. This is the big move. These are the men that forced it early on.
Ellison went clear and waited till his team captain has come across the gap, and now he's going to rev him all the way to the finish. Ellison way too far behind, cannot win this race, but Wout Pouls can. 10-second win bonus. Ellison would move over and let him take it if that's the way it's going to be.
And behind, the work is being done by Team Sunweb. That'll be Jai Hindley, I think, on the front, or Chris Hamilton, one of the two young Aussies. They're coming into Richie Port territory now. 1.5 kilometres to go. Can Port pounce across, and can Bennett and Woods follow? And Daryl Impey, he is getting closer and closer to an ochre jersey.
And now you see why it's a team race with an individual winner. Ellison pulling himself to pieces. Port is poised and he's going to have to make a move. He's getting into the area where he loves to attack right now.
Well, this is where Port has always gone, and Port goes.
Now who's going to go after him? Life is turning a little upside down for Daryl Impey.
Well, the Sunweb rider is Chris Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton could well be the best placed young rider of this tour, but Woods is coming as well into our picture. So where is Impey? Impey needs to cross this gap. He can't afford to lose too many seconds.
Port, Hamilton, Woods, Bennett, Pozzovivo, the last man. Behind that, Mitchelton Scott for Daryl Impey. The gap is still small, but Port is dropping the others. Bennett is dropped, Pozzovivo is dropped, and Port is opening everything now and going alone. He's caught Walt Pools. The bid for victory now from Richie Port.
At 1 kilometre to go, the King of Wollonga is about to relive his moments. For 5 years he sprinted to victory on this climb. Whether it's for the overall win, time will tell, but he's looking very good now.
Well, at the moment, Walt Pools is able to follow Richie Port. Port in and out of the saddle, looking over the shoulder. The gap to Impey still not enough. Michael Woods is getting his way back across the gap as well. Richie Port, another acceleration, seeing if he can offload the Dutchman from Team Sky, but he's hanging tough. What is the gap? We look back, we see Woods, we see Hamilton, Mitchelton Scott coming with Daryl Impey in the background. The gap is not enough yet. It's got to be at least 9 seconds for one of these riders to pass Daryl Impey, and it will need to be actually 10 or they'll lose on a countback.
Well, there is Daryl Impey being dragged up to the summit by Lucas Hamilton at the moment. Sanchez has got himself in onto Port, onto Impey's wheel. They need to help each other now because the King is not going to abdicate here. He's going for it. He's got rid of Wout Poels. He is speeding towards the top beneath the flag of Brittany in France. This man from Tasmania is sprinting to what looks like a 6th win in as many years on top of Wollonga Hill. And as happened last year, when he hits the line, the clock will count. He needs to win by 10 clear seconds.
The King of Wollonga is now solo, Richie Port. The gap not yet big enough. He needs to sprint all the way to the line. Daryl Impey will do the same. It is shades of 12 months ago. The crown will be looming on the road in front of Richie Port. He's coming up towards the corner. He looks back at 150 to go.
At 150 to go, the King remains the King of Wollonga. Richie Port looks over his shoulder. I'm not sure who it looks. It could have been Impey in the background there. We'll see him on the line. He gets a 10-second win bonus. Watch the corner. It's the white jersey of Daryl Impey. Port wins. And Daryl Impey wins the Tour Down Under for a second year. The first man ever to do it. The clock on this occasion wasn't necessary. What a recovery by Daryl Impey.
Well, Daryl Impey, such a patient, intelligent and above all incredibly strong ride to seal victory. He kept his eyes on Port. He knew he didn't have to match the acceleration, just give it everything he had all the way to the line, just like 12 months ago, and he was always in control. Incredible ride from his teammate Hamilton to keep him in that position, and Daryl Impey has done it.
And he wears #1 next year. Outstanding by the champion of South Africa. He wanted this, and he wanted it big time. And of course, he races for the Australian World Tour team, Mitchelton Scott.
Richie Port wears the crown, but Daryl Impey wears ochre.
On the very last day. Hats off to Richie Port. He's still the King of Wollonga, whatever you might think. For 6 years he's been unbeaten on this climb, but he could not open the gap to take the win.
For so long it was hanging in the balance. Port looked reluctant to attack, but when it came to his trusty marker on Wollonga Hill, he opened up everything. Walt Pools matched him for a long time, but acceleration after acceleration, it pulled Port clear. I think he knew at this point he wasn't going to win the Tour Down Under overall. He could see Impey in the distance, but he knew that he was getting 6 in a row atop this most famous climb in Australian cycling, and now an icon of the World Tour. Richie Porte wins again in Wollonga.
And the wave of victory salute for the third place rider, Daryl Impey. He got a small bonus as well of 4 seconds. So he only gained 6 seconds on the day over Daryl.
And that will be our top 3. Daryl Impey will win overall. Richie Porte will lift himself to second again in the Santos Tour Down Under. Walt Pouls will complete the podium. That will be our top 3. So it has delivered. Wollonga Hill has decided who will stand on the final podium of this Santos Tour Down Under.
Well, if that is absolutely right, and I'm not disputing at all, Rowan Dennis crossed the line in 4th place, another winner of this event, but Richie Porte has now finished second in this event 4 times.